I'm Erin Johnson. This is Think Tank Television. Welcome. Today we have with us Rosemary Connolly, who is presently running for selectman. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Erin. How are you? It's
Good,
nice.
thanks. Thanks. It's good to see you too. First of all, can you just tell us how your campaign's going so far?
It's almost campaign season. I've done this. Was my third time. I've come close the other two times. It's going good. We've really been focusing on a concept. It's called Connected Communities, and we'll be running with a series of women, Women for Connected Communities, and we'll be getting into that a little bit. So a lot of behind the scenes work is going on right now as we, combine and get an idea of, how we present a group of people and a group of people's ideas going forward. But it's been nice, and it's been nice working with other women.
That's good. Okay. So this is the third time you've run. Okay. Why did you decide to run again this year?
I will always run. One of the great things about Finance Committee, and I've been on like 5 years, quite some time, is that we're not a political entity. We're looking at numbers, we're looking at data. And when I see that the data and numbers aren't represented on the selectmen board, I know that I can influence how that goes if I run, right? I can hold them accountable, and I know that I can influence if I get elected. So either way, I win.
Okay. So you're on the Finance Committee now?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh, that's great. How many other boards or committees have you been on?
I've been on the finance, so you're not allowed to be on other boards and committees. If you're on the Finance Committee, you're only allowed to be on the Finance Committee. I volunteer really actively with some other groups, primarily, and I missed you actually, the Cultural Council.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. My term was up this year. Yeah,
I know you had mentioned that. I didn't know that when I went in, though, when we were going in to volunteer. But we did get to do champagne, cake, and art, and that was part of the concept of connected communities. We were looking at places where we weren't spending grant money, and we the group of women that are with combs those numbers, and we make sure we grab them and make sure they're used. So we were able to do a big event called Champagne, Cake, and Art this past weekend. The Cultural Council did an amazing job on that, and it really did connect that home, school, and community together, right? We had businesses, not quite schools for this one, but Whitman Day will be connecting the schools, the home, and the community together. Really a connected community. We had a lot of artists that were from Whitman Hanson at the event, and that was exciting to see their art. And they're older now, but
okay. Can you tell me, when will Whitman Day be?
Whitman Day.
Now, what is it about? Yeah.
Oh, it was about Whitman culture, right? It's about all our departments. It's about our history. We'll be doing all kinds of. I think there's a lot of touch a truck, music, food. Right now it's in the beginning stages, and it's slowly growing. And if people are interested, they can reach out to the Cultural Council and add what they want into it. But so far, the concept and what was written in for the grant was we're celebrating our culture, our history, and hopefully there'll be some chocolate chip cookies there, right?
It sounds good, yeah. So let me get to another question. So how long have you lived in Whitman?
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm from the area. So I grew up in Hanson, and went to Whitman Hanson. I moved away. And I also went to, private school, a little bit for high school. I moved away, started my own family in Milford, Mass, and moved back here when my youngest was in elementary school. He is now in high school. So
great.
a little bit now. It's been really nice to be home again. Nice to see people I've known all my life, and, be part of the community.
Yeah, that's nice. So what are some of your goals when you talk about getting on the selectman? board.
I love that you're saying select board. I have to say.
It was a question I was going to wait till later, but I'll ask now. No,
I think you've answered it when I say I love that. I think that ultimately I'm a big people make the decision. I don't believe in selling. But I do believe that should be presented to the people to make a decision. Do you want selectmen?
No, just to be
all the time. No. Or should there be some women on this board?
Yeah. Well, just to be clear, because a lot of other towns have already done it. It's changing the name from that board from Board of Selectmen to Select Board, because in fact some of those boards already have women on them.
Exactly. Not here though. Not here yet.
Not yet. Right. Okay. So what are some of your goals? That's what I meant to ask. If you get elected, yeah.
Well, that'll be one. How's that? One of my biggest goal is to make sure that we're building in a way that it benefits the community. I already observed grant money, and we make sure we grab all of that, and we do our best to make sure it's in line. Benefits from the state. I know people really are paying attention to finance committee meetings. They're seeing that all of the real push to correct these things from chapter 90, so from chapter 70, from the busing, all originates in Whitman Finance, and we push it forward, and then somebody discovers it, and then that's where the politics come in. Everybody's got their name all over it, but the origin is really coming from our Whitman Finance. We're working really hard as a team. And I think if you really are talking to most of my finance committee members, they're rooting for me. They're definitely supporting me. So my goal would also to begin to start to get ahead of some of the things, because sometimes it takes a delay. Like we brought up the 60-40 split for busing, and now they're just beginning. I think the first time we emailed it in was almost 2 years ago, and I think Frank was the town administrator at the time, and we were talking about this. This isn't a split appropriately. This is supposed to be a regional benefit, so it should be split per pupil. I mean, per. So
you mean the cost for Whitman and Hanson?
Yeah, the 60-40. Okay. I mean, there's been some other stuff for that's regional agreement based, but the other, how the original split's supposed to be out, there's been questions. So there was always questions going back, but the origin of that comes from Whitman Finance. The origin of the chapter 70 issues come from Whitman Finance. And another one that's coming up, and if you read last year's financial letter, we ask about chapter 90 money. And what happens is it takes a couple of years for anybody to do anything about this money. And we lose millions of dollars because there's no we don't immediately address it. We lost $4 million of $4.5 million of chapter 70 money. And we're probably, for the busing, if they had done it earlier, we would be $1.5 million better off than we are now. So this delay is costly. And because I'd like to give our finance committee, elevate it back to where it once was. It once was equal to selectmen. We were like a ways and means committee. And there's been a real erosion of financial oversight. And I think most people would have seen that when we paid $500,000 to another town. And that just 3 months later went and spent, it turned out to have the money and spent it on other things in their town and a special town meeting. So the financial oversight we don't have it as much. And I'd like to elevate our finance committee back up. I'd like to ensure that when we have big developers in town, they build that in a way that honors our community. So that means most towns, when they have developers build, they have them build their roads to spec to 90. So they meet chapter 90 speculations. And then
is chapter 90 specifically for roads?
Yes, it's for road care and other things by trucks and things like that, but it's to care for the roads. Okay. And they have to build the roads in a way that allows proper watershed and that they be sturdy. or we can't accept them. They have to meet a standard. We haven't registered a road in I think it's 15 years. I've got to go back, but we can't say we didn't build a road in 15 years. So what happens is that road is technically a private road, and we're plowing and caring for it. And it's not built in a way that it's sustainable, and it breaks down faster, so that we're patching it. And we're not receiving that money from the state. So I've done breakdowns, and I do breakdowns every year of how much we pay for DPW per capita. We're the second smallest town, and we pay like $150 per person towards the DPW. And let's say Bridgewater is $57, and Brockton is, $73 in their taxes per capita. So you'd have to say, why? Are we spending too much on the DPW? No, we're not. The salaries are pretty low, and we don't have really fancy trucks. We certainly have a horrible building. So where's that money? What's happening? And we've asked from the finance committee, can you review the Chapter 90 money and that long-term impact of caring for these private roads where we're not getting reimbursed? And we really haven't gotten we haven't gotten anything back. And that's the sort of thing, like, the selectmen now will poo-poo it. It's no big deal. And then 2 years later, you'll find out, oh, it's millions, So I'd like to get that now handled. Make sure that we're collecting the bond correctly from the big developers. Make sure that they're building in an honorable way. If they're building in a way that requires pumping stations, what is the expense on the community? Do we pay more for homes that have pumping stations? Do we offset those prices? Nobody's asking these questions. And this makes it more expensive for the average taxpayer. So those questions should be asked. Also, I want to invest in a way that makes you wealthier.
That's good.
If you have bad roads, nobody's going to want to live here. Your car will break down faster, right? You'll be fixing your stuff more. So I want us to make sure that people build in an honorable way, and I want to invest in a way that makes our community members better off. The way we invest in schools does affect our home values. Statistically, for every dollar you spend in schools, you get $20 back in your home value. And so when we look at our home values, and we have if anybody wants to go to, I think I have a lot of this information on something called the Real Whitman, and you can join it. It's a group. And we put in a lot of the financial data there. But you can see a pixelated map of every assessed home value in Massachusetts. And it looks like someone put their thumb on Whitman and like the Whitman area. It's about $100,000 or $150,000 less than, say, other towns surrounding, not cities, but towns surrounding us, because of how we invest in our schools and other things. So we're pulling from our homeowners' equity and giving a poor education. Why? Why are we making these choices? These particular financial choices benefit very few. I think it is probably about, you'd have to own really large apartment buildings and be making money, or making money, lots of money from your property for this particular style of investment to be worth it. And there's only about 10 people in town that would meet that criteria. So why are we doing that? And I think those are the questions I would ask on the Board of Selectmen. Why are we not doing things that make our average citizen have, wealthier, better off, overall wealth, better off financially, better off with their cars, for the roads, better schools? Why are we not making those investments?
Okay. All right. You talked a lot about things that should change, and it sounds good. Is there anything you think Whitman is doing right that we're really good at?
Oh, yes. There's lots of things we're great at. The park is gorgeous. We're very lucky to have the park that we have in Olmsted Park. The people of Whitman are beautiful, really beautiful. We're lucky to have each other. Like great culture, great art, we got a little bit of that last Saturday night. So yes, there's a lot of great things going on.
That's good.
I think we're about to have, there's a lot of talk about the Whitman Museum too. So there's a lot of up and coming great things too.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, you mentioned Chapter 70. I'm not sure I know what that is. Can you tell me what that is?
Yes, yes. Chapter 70 is something called an aggregate wealth model. Under the Massachusetts Constitution, education should not be a burden more for one person than the other. So it's an equitable funding source. So basically, it goes by your wealth index. Everybody's supposed to pay a certain percentage of their wealth, and they sort of get it's not exact, but they get a general idea, and they break it out by town. So they're looking at a town's ability to pull revenue from their EQV, which is equalized values of property, and their wealth indexes. So the wealth index of the individual. So the problem was, even though the towns got that money separately, and it by law, the Constitution, these are constitutional right? Mm-hmm. Under Massachusetts law, we got that money. That was our aid when the schools had pulled it together, and when they split it out, we didn't receive the full impact of that. And another wealthier town, Hanson, is wealthier. The equalized value per capita is higher. Their home values are higher. Their ability to pull revenue is higher. So per capita is much higher there. And if you go on their Facebook's, their town website, they've just done a study, and it shows that they're far above average for wealth. Well, Whitman's slightly below average for wealth. So we receive more Chapter 70. So when that was given, it sort of flowed over, the impact of that flowed over to a wealthier town. And when Whitman was making its effort, we were paying at a rate that got us. So if we had our combined, the state support, like we were supposed to, our constitutional support, and our taxes combined, we would have been paying at levels of Lexington, Massachusetts, if Hanson had met that effort. Instead, what happened was they pulled back and they paid half of Hanson, and that sounded really beautiful, but in fact, that was quite manipulative. That's not what happened. What happened behind the scenes, and I was sending text messages and emails to two people that were running against me. Hold harmless, something called hold harmless is going away. These are the national trends. Equity, it's not creating equity, so the new laws are going to change this. And of course, like I said, Whitman Finance is ahead of the game. The big machine, let's say, or the political aspect said, no, that's not going to happen. Well, that did. And the 1.7 that some thought we were going to get this year, we didn't get. And if you listen to last year's 2020's town meeting, you'll hear somebody get up, and I believe it's a school committee that said, don't worry, it'll all even out next year. And what he meant was some of that hold harmless will come back, and we'll make it that $500,000 or plus we'll get back. But it didn't. And so essentially we bought junk bonds from Hanson, and there'll be a lot of denying that, but I have enough text messages to prove it.
Okay.
But yeah, 10 minutes left.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty important. Well, is there anything else you'd like us to know? Just in general, some goals you might have?
Some goals. My goal is to, like I said, and we talk about this a lot, clean lines, financial clean lines, letting people know where their money's being spent. Most of my goals are financial goals, making sure we invest in a way that preserves people's equity in their home and their house. And when we look at properties, and something that scares me, and why I really would probably going to run them more aggressively this year, is that when markets drop and people have taken out loans on their homes, and you don't have great schools and great roads, your home value crashes. And we get a lot of people who will be underwater. And with the recession coming, that's the last thing I want. You don't want people underwater, unable to pull from the equity of their home to retire, to do over their roof, or to do anything, while a recession's going on. So I want to make sure that we're investing in a way that stabilizes people's finances.
Okay, well, that sounds great. And I hope you do well in the
Thank you,
election.
Erin. It was so nice to see you.
Can you just remind me of the date of the election? It's May.
God, May 22nd, I believe it is.
Okay, I'm sorry. I should have known.
I haven't. No, I should. I have a whole list because we're doing Whitman Day. I'm doing, there's so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got my kids' stuff. So I've got 2 kids, and as you know, band next week. And it's May 22nd, I believe, or the 23rd. But gosh, it's not on here. I believe that is it.
My mistake. Okay. But it was great having you here. And I hope to see you again.
Me too. Definitely. Please.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
And thanks to everybody in Whitman and Hanson for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye.